MRT family. I'm not caught up on the feeds or anything, but I did see a little bit of the feed clips. The only real storyline of what was going to happen today with the veto ceremony was, is Tucker going to use the power veto to save himself, or is he going to use it to save somebody else, or not use it basically, because they were trying to make him not take himself off the block to save Rubina, but he was finally convinced, like, this is not the best move for myself to stay on the block, even if it's a possibility for me to win AI Arena, as he's done it multiple times before. It was just like, it's not worth the risk this time. So, as expected, because he did decide as of yesterday, even though he was going back and forth, he did finally decide, I am not going to use the power veto on somebody else. I'm going to use the power veto on myself. So he used it on himself. Apparently he lied to some people and said that he didn't, but it doesn't matter because Quinn's not so secret. HOH, deep fake HOH, everybody knows that he was going to be the one selecting the replacement nom. The replacement nom is Rubina. Hi Ma and hi Edward. So I don't have too much to say about this. The only thing I was really going to say is, now we're having a choice here. So we still have Cedric on the block, which he stupidly volunteered himself, and then the volunteer wasn't worth it. It was not worth the risk. I didn't think it was worth the risk anyways, but it was definitely not worth the risk because he didn't even win the veto comp. So he's still on there. And then we have MJ and we have Rubina. So in one instance, I mean, I think he has a good chance of beating them, but it depends on what the competition actually is. It could be anything. It could be a puzzle competition. It could be a physical competition. It could be a memory comp. It could be any kind of comp. So he could win and he could lose. What a lot of people are discussing, though, is, oh, I wanted to get Tucker out, which should basically be everybody in the house, with probably the exception of Angela. Definitely the exception of Angela, obviously, because they are in a final two together. That's like her only protection. Everyone else will put her on the block every single week, whether it's as a pawn or whether it's as a target. She would be on the block every week with almost everyone else. Possibly MJ and possibly Leah. I think that everybody else should want Tucker out of the house because of how good Tucker is at everything. And when you get somebody who's a comp beast like that, they're a game breaker. Despite the fact that I don't think that Tucker can win the game because he's put himself in such a spot where he has to either win or win veto. He has to win a competition every week, almost every week, to stay in. You got to get him out. You have got to get him out. So, since you cannot get him out this week, I think the next best thing to getting him out is to his girl, Rubina. I think that's the next best thing because really, you've heard people talk about it before in these houses, that having a showmance or having like an emotional support person does a lot for you in the house. I'm not saying that Tucker couldn't win without her being in the house. He could still win and he could still be in the house, but it would be a complete wasted week, I think, if you took out MJ, because while MJ is aligned with Tucker, in a sense, it's not as strong of an alliance as Tucker and Rubina, who is like lockstep with him. So that's the one that would affect him and impact him the most. That's what I think they should go for. Quinn is the overthinking super fan, because Quinn was in a conversation with Chelsea and I forget who else he was talking to, but I know Chelsea was the main person that he was debating with, and Chelsea was like, yeah, get out Rubina. I agree with a lot of Chelsea's takes, but Quinn was kind of like, MJ is the bigger threat. MJ is a bigger physical threat. What's going to happen if MJ goes on the block? I mean, if MJ wins HOH. To me, it's not really so much about if MJ wins HOH. Yes, MJ will probably target Quinn because, you know, when you put her on the block, you made an enemy out of her, so she would probably put you back on the block. But the thing is, your group, unless you don't trust your group still has the numbers. So it's not about whether you get on the block or not. It's about whether you have the numbers to stay or go. And that's really mostly what it's about. So that would be my choice. If I was the one choosing, my choice would be that I would vote out Rubina for that specific purpose, to to mess with Tucker and to take away a little bit of his mental focus, a little bit of his enjoyment in the house. I mean, honestly, that's what you need to think about sometimes. Showmances, I mean, people have given me examples of, a handful, like a couple of showmances where it's worked out, where they have both made it far in the game. But more often than not, showmances are not beneficial for people in the Big Brother house. So that's where we're at. Tucker finally decided to use the POV on himself. Like, he didn't do I'm going to make a show out of this and we're going to battle it out in the AI comp, and then I'm going to show everybody that I'm the most dominant Big Brother player of all time. He decided that he actually wants to be safe this week. And now we're going to have the competition between Cedric and the two ladies. And I'm interested to see what ensues. So that's my update, my recap. Thanks for joining. Like, comment, subscribe, and talk to y'all soon.